It's Jakks time! Today on the channel, our deep dive continues. Jakks Classic Superstars, Series 23. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel. Today, our Jakks Classic Superstars deep dive continues as we look at Jakks Classic Superstars, Series 23. Hopefully you guys are enjoying all these Jakks Classic Superstars videos. A lot of great commentary, a lot of great comments from you guys in the comments each and every week. So please feel free to comment, continue on. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the video as always. We've got a lot to go still. I say it every week, but we still got the 2-packs, the 3-packs, the deluxe classics, the box sets, the rings, the ring giants, and a few other things in there on Classic Superstars. But we're at 23. You know, we're almost done with the single-carded series. We're getting there. About by the end of 2020, we'll be done with the single-card series and moving on to the next. So stay tuned to my page as we'll do a poll of what we want to do next. The 2-packs, 3-packs, the box sets. We'll figure it out. But we're going to keep diving until we get all the Classic Superstars done. So, like I said, I hope you're enjoying. Hopefully you've been following along each week. Every Tuesday, dropping a new video. But here we are. Classic Superstars Series 23. A dynamite set, a few head-scratching things in this set, some great characters in this set, but some bad execution on a few things. We're going to get into every single one like we always do. We're going to go by each figure one by one, and today we're going to start with one of the best ones and one of the most valuable ones of the Classic Superstars line, especially in Series 23. That is Spike Dudley, Mr. ECW Spike Dudley to be more specific. So I absolutely love this figure, but I hate this figure at the same time. Like I said, very hard to get. This figure I would love to get a loosey of. I've really struggled to get a loose figure of this Spike Dudley. And as a whole, Series 23 did not hit a lot. We talk about it in a lot of these later videos. You didn't see a lot of these sticking around. I don't remember seeing Spike Dudley at the store ever. I don't remember seeing a lot of this store out there ever. So very, very strange. I guess not really strange. It was just a different time. They were cranking these out so fast, there was no time for peg warmers, it seemed like. Kind of similar to how it is with Mattel Elites today. They turn and burn the product so fast, the only peg warmers you see are the Finn Balor's and AJ Styles that are 2 per case and in about every other set. Those are the guys that peg warm. They didn't have that luxury with these. And that's just what I saw, and that's what I remember. You guys tell me in the comments what you remember about Series 23. But Spike was one I really wanted. Obviously, being a big ECW fan back in the day, the Spike, I had to have it for my collection. I wanted to have it loose nowadays to put in my loose Ruthless Aggression set to put with the Dudley boys. The problem I have with this figure is giantism, Jakks giantism, strikes again, and it strikes in a big way with this Spike Dudley. But there he is. He is a big, big, tall figure. Which is unfortunate. As we all know, Spike was not very big, as he was the runt of the Dudley Boys litter, if we all remember correctly. But love the decoration, the shirt, the tie-dye, the overalls. Got the crazy, goofy look on his face. Very, very awesome figure. You guys might also notice it comes with the cookie sheet. The cookie sheet is a very famous Jakks accessory, maybe one of the most famous. This one is a really great cookie sheet, and it's funny that this came in here, because you guys remember back to the great Undertaker Kevin Thorne cookie battle that ended up costing Kevin Thorne his job with the WWE. Well, Spike Dudley was kind of the ECW equivalent of those guys. He was the one that baked all the cookies backstage at the ECW arena. Everybody, you know, once a month there'd be an ECW arena show, and all the ECW originals, they looked forward to Spike's cookies. He had this little, like, kind of a modern-day Easy Bake Oven that he would bring along in his gear, and he'd make cookies for all the boys, cutting them up, handing them out, doling them out. He was the cookie man of ECW. So a little known fact there. A lot of you guys may not know that. That could be totally off. Somebody can fact check that if they want. But that's why that's here. But there you go. There's Spike, like we said. There's that beautiful glamour shot on the side. They just got that crazy Spike look. If we all know and remember Spike. Spike Dudley on the side. And then, of course, the back with the whole lineup. You got Spike up top. Let's see what it says about old Spike. You know, it's funny, he's got a lot going on in the back, where we had something like Jesse Ventura, they didn't list anything. It's really weird how that went down. Spike Dudley, 150 pounds, 5'8", finishing move, the Dudley Dog. I think it was the acid drop, was it not? Maybe it got changed to the Dudley Dog, more PC. Titles, ECW World Tag Team Champion, Chaotic Wrestling Tag Team Champion. So that's interesting, going deep out into the independents and putting that on here. I don't remember us seeing that before. WWE Tag Team Champion, WWE Hardcore Champion, WWE European Champion. I don't remember him being a tag team champion. Who is he a tag team champion with? Somebody can tell me in the comments. But the back looks pretty much the same as his prototype. Not a lot different. There's a little bit more green, a little bit more knee showing. There's a little green in the tights, but I don't see it on the finish. It's all yellow. But a very cool one. The head scan. Later Jakks gets a lot of grief, not just in the Classic Superstars, but also the Ruthless Aggression figures, where the heads seem to have gotten bigger, the bodies did not. And this Spike has a little bit of giantism, and then a little giantism of the head as well. Like I said, with some of these later day ones, where the head just got a little too big. Really weird the direction they went with that. And we do see that from time to time with Mattel and the Elites as of late. We'll see maybe small heads and maybe a little too big heads. I get it's all subjective a little bit, but this to me was a little too big. But Spike Dudley, an all-time favorite of mine. Very happy it's in the Classic Superstars line. I just wish this was easier to get because, like I said, I do need a loose version of this, and I should have got it 10, 15 years ago. Not the smartest move on my part in 2020 trying to get one of these. So there's Spike Dudley. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we have the LJN representation and the only female LJN representation in the Jakks lineup from the Jakks sub-series inside a sub-series of the Classic Superstars, I guess we'll call it, and that is Trish Stratus. During this time, she was probably the most famous female wrestler of all time. She really helped reignite women's wrestling to the next level, took it through some of the doldrums and the crazy diva years and all that. So Trish is fitting as far as what they were trying to accomplish with this subset line inside a line. Is she was totally fitting. She was the John Cena of females, Rock, you know, that kind of stuff. So that works. The only kind of problem I have with this figure is it was a little too, just like Jeff Hardy, it had a little too of an anime feel to it for me. The animation of the figure just looked too cartoony. That's just me. Maybe you guys tell me in the comments if you agree, but let's take a peek at it. It just looks, I don't know. It's not like an LJN. It looks too animated. It looks like anime from Japan is what that looks like to me. So I just do not like this one a lot. I do need to get a loose one still. Trish Stratus on the side. There it is. I mean, they did get her pose down. I'll give them that. There's the glamour shot. You can see it real good there. I mean, that does not, when you think of an LJN figure, yeah, they're big rubber wrestlers, but they also look like the person. That just doesn't scream Trish Stratus to me. I know we talked about this one in the deep dive video where we went through every single one of these Jakks LJNs. If you missed that one, go back and look at it. We go through each one series by series. Let's see what it says on the back here on Trish. Let's see. Weight, 125 pounds, 5'4", finishing move, Stratusfaction. 7-time women's champion, hardcore champion, 3-time WWE Babe of the Year. 2001, 2002, 2003. So good for her, winning Babe of the Year 3 years in a row. I mean, that's unprecedented. I will know they put a zip tie, a twist tie, I should say, around her waist. I do not remember seeing that before with these LJN-inspired figures. And that makes sense if they were heavier, but this is the lightest one, being a female. So I'm not exactly sure. I guess it is. They didn't want her falling forward in the package because it's such a slim figure. That's the only thing I can really think of. You also see the branding up here, Classic Superstars 23. Absolutely love they did that because you don't have to get a checklist. You can just look. Okay, it's 23. Makes it easy when you're trying to do videos like this one. So there you go. Not a lot to say about this one, but it's Trish Stratus, Jakks Classic Superstars 23. Next up, have any of you ever taken a trip down to Cobb County, Georgia? Well, if not, we will next. Next up, we're going to be serving some hard times in this review. See what I did there, you Bossman fans out there? Nails' favorite wrestler, the Big Bossman, is in Classic Superstars Series 23. One of the most iconic characters of the 80s. When I think 80s wrestling, I think of the Big Bossman. You guys know I love the heavy hitters. The Twin Towers were one of my favorite tag teams back then. Akeem and the Big Bossman. It didn't really make sense. Why was this correctional officer with this guy from deepest and darkest Africa? It was kind of a weird pairing, but Slick brought them together, and it worked. Two big dudes. Love their matches with Demolition back in the day, against Hogan and Macho, of course. Big Boss Man was just, one of those guys that you didn't appreciate back in the day, but you think back of fondly. And most non-huge collectors, fans of wrestling, they know the Big Boss Man. That's a name a lot of people know. So that's cool. I was happy to get this version of the Big Boss Man in the line. Totally deserving. One of the most deserving to be in there. Unfortunately, the execution went a little bit south. So let's get into it. Let's take a look. There he is, the Big Boss Man. Just like, this looks like Big Boss Man just got done after a long 14-hour shift at the correctional facility. Had a hard time out there putting guys in the hole and all that kind of stuff they do. And he took his shirt untucked and is getting home to hit the lazy boy and kind of decompress with a couple of cold ones and maybe a bag of Chex Mix. I think he'd eat a Chex Mix to end the night. So that's what this Big Boss Man reminds me of. I like the head scan on this. The accessories, I love the ball and chain. I love the nightstick. That is a slam dunk. We love those accessories. Like I said, the head scan's great. It is the body. Once again, I'm glad he wasn't Yokozuna. Yokozuna's size would have made no sense. That would have ruined the figure. The next set would have been the Kamala Bam Bam Bigelow type size. And that was, maybe would have been better than this. This is kind of the untucked shirt. Paulie from the Rocky line, if you're aware of that one. Kind of Shane McMahon, I think, had a shirt like this. It's just a very, very weird. The untucked is weird, but then the skinniness of the figure. He's too little. And you don't see that very often with Jakks, where a figure is too little. And that's what we have here with the Big Boss Man. Just, it's missing. It's missing a key ingredient. But like I said, I'm glad it's in here. I just wish the execution was better. Mattel did a great Big Boss Man later on in the Elite line, but this is the first one that we got from Jakks. We will have another Jakks, more of the modern day at the time, more of the end of the career Big Boss Man, and the tactical SWAT gear, I guess you would call it. But this is Big Boss Man when you think Big Boss Man, 100%, just not that size. So there he is on the side there. There he is. What do we got to do to get a Guardian Angel of Mattel Elite? That's what we need. A deep WCW cut. Let's get a Guardian Angel. Let's get an old school NWA Big Bubba Rogers. Let's get another version of the Big Boss. Let's get the really Big Boss Man in Mattel. And then we can get, I don't know, maybe a Ray Trailer in the, cut off shirt. There's a lot of Big Boss Man type figures, Ray Trailer figures we can get over the years that we need in the Mattel Elite line. There's the back. You can see old Ray Trailer, the Big Boss Man up top there. That Big Boss Man logo on his shirt there always reminded me of the Batman logo. Whenever I see it, I always think of Batman. That old school Adam West Batman. Let's read the back. Let's see what it says here. Weight 315 pounds. So this is more of a not early Twin Towers, early WWF Big Boss Man when he was probably pushing 400 back then. 6'6", sidewalk slam, the finishing move. Did it with an amazing ease. Titles, WWE Tag Team Champion, WWE Hardcore Champion. Who was he Tag Team Champions with? It must have been later day. Maybe with Ken Shamrock or something like that. Because I don't think him and Akeem were ever Tag Team Champions, if I remember right. But it was probably when he was part of the corporation somewhere in there. He was a tag champ with Test or somebody. Who knows? I don't know. Got a crazy squinty eye on this one, too. He's just kind of squinting along. I don't mind the head scan at all. It's just the body. But for a trip down to Cobb County, Georgia, which is beautiful this time of year, I hear, you can't beat the Big Boss Man. I think they have a version of this as a full life-size statue down there on the town square. If I remember right. I could be totally wrong. Some of you Cobb County people down there, check in that one. Let me know if that's true. But there you have it. An awesome one. The Big Boss Man. Next up in Jakks Class Superstar Series 23, we've got WCW Billy Kidman. So not a crazy amount of WCW representation in the Classic Superstars line. A fair amount. And I'd say, honestly, probably a better amount than we get these days with Mattel Elites. There's so many WCW characters we could get from Mattel that we don't. We just recently got a Stunning Steve Austin, which was great. But there's so many more they could get. And I don't know what the reasoning is. If they think it won't sell, if they're not allowed to. Maybe a mix of both. But I'd love a little more WCW representation. And how about a Mattel Elite of Billy Kidman? That would be cool. Give us this one. This is Billy Kidman when you think of him, kind of his flock days. kind of end of the road WCW. Billy was quite the high flyer back in the day, too. A lot of innovative moves that were used to this day, we see. Started with Billy Kidman, that a lot of great high flying from him over the years. He did go into the WWE later on, as we all know, to probably mixed results. I guess his biggest trademark is being in the back, helping in the gorilla position, that kind of stuff to these days. So, but Billy Kidman was a big deal back in WCW for me back in, the 2000s and late 90s, I guess you would say. So there you go, Billy Kidman. Let's take a peek at him here. He's got his wife beater on. They gave him the old Ric Flair old man hands, where they're all crinkled up and stuff and all old and veiny. I never understood those hands. Even on Ric Flair, they didn't make a lot of sense to me. And for Billy Kidman to have them, not the best look. Then he's got the tape fist for the other one. Great head scan, though. I do like this head sculpt. And one thing I do hate with a lot of the Jakks Class Superstars is we see a lot of customizers popping the heads and throwing the bodies away, making elites out of them, stuff like that. I mean, for us Jakks collectors, I guess that makes ours more valuable. That's just one more out of the pipeline for people to get. I just don't like it when people do that. I get why they're doing it, but I don't like it. I don't have to agree with it. And we're going to see that a lot. I've already seen a few different posts from different people out on social media. We have a new British Bulldog Mattel Elite coming out. A lot of people are buying up the Jakks Dynamite Kids while they're cheaper. They're still not cheap, but they're cheaper because they don't think we're going to get a Mattel Dynamite, so they're buying the figures from the Jakks Classic run, popping the head off, and making custom elites. I don't like that either. I just don't like it, but I guess I got my Dynamite, so I don't got anything to worry about. But if people want to go back in a few years, it's going to be tougher to get some of those figures because people are making so many customs out of it. And we see that with Spike Dudley. We see it with a lot of these guys. So, I don't know. I understand it. I just don't like it. Nothing I can do. It is what it is. And I guess, hey, more people do it, the more valuable my collection or maybe your collection out there gets because there's less on the market. But here's Billy Kidman. And Billy Kidman comes with that silver steel chair. Little known fact about that chair. We talked about it. Was it last series or maybe the series before? Probably last series, maybe. Flying Brian Pillman. He came with that exact silver chair. Well, a lot of people knew Flying Brian as Flying Brian in the ring. But when he got to the back in the locker room, he was sitting in a silver chair, Brian Pillman. He passed on that legacy when he left to go to the WWE. He saw a very young Billy Kidman. I mean, this is young pre-flock Billy Kidman. He passed that silver chair to him because it was WCW property. You're not taking that. Pillman, you can go wherever you want, ECW, whatever. You're not taking one of our silver chairs. We got only this many. You're not taking it. So he passed his silver chair on to Billy Kidman, and Billy Kidman held up that tradition of being flying around in the ring, but sitting in the back, Billy Kidman. So that's the story of Billy Kidman in his chair. Not 100% sure that's right, but somebody can fact check that out there if they want. There's old Billy on the side. And, of course, Billy Kidman on the other side. And the name, love the gold foil, love the package uniformity. We've talked about it in about every video. There he is with the whole lineup on the back. Let's take a look and see what it says. First off, he doesn't have the crazy old man hands in the prototype. They should have done that. And I was thinking he came with a baseball hat, but I think one of his Ruthless Aggression might have been Bust of WCW line. Billy Kidman, I think he came with a baseball hat, if I do remember right. Not a ton of difference from this figure. Billy Kidman weighed 195 pounds, 5'10", the master of the shooting star press, except when he's not. I remember he messed up in WCW that one time, and it kind of psyched him out a little bit. Titles, Cruiserweight Champion, WWE Tag Team Champion, WCW Tag Team Champion, WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Champion. So a lot of tag team title runs, light heavyweight titles there. I remember his feud with Hulk Hogan in WCW. That was a bit of a head scratcher for a while when they were trying to kind of repump some life into WCW and try some things, see what sticks, and that was one of them. So there you go. There's old Billy Kidman. Let's see who we got next. All right, next up in the Jakks Classic Superstars Series 23, we got Rob Van Dam. The definition to me of a classic superstar is one of my all-time favorite from my time in ECW. It's so hard to think, if you weren't in the day and age of watching ECW when it happened, how big of a deal Rob Van Dam was. The innovative move set, the cool moves, the cool attitude. Man, the guy was just the coolest thing ever back then, and still wrestling to this day. So, with his style and everything, it's pretty crazy. He's still going at it to this day and age, most recently with TNA. But I was happy to get this. I know this is kind of one that was a head-scratcher at the time. Why is he in the Classic Superstars line? We're getting a million RVDs in the Jakks line. but it fits. You go 15 years later, this makes total sense. That's what I like. So I do love this RVD. It's the smaller RVD, very similar to that Best Buy box set exclusive RVD. It's a smaller body type, which I like. And I always like this one. As far as Lucy's go, I just felt it was a better figure. A really cool singlet on this one, as you guys can notice. They did a little bit better job on this singlet compared to other singlets in the regular Jakks Ruthless Aggression line. I think they took a little more time with this one. And I actually do have a loose version of this one. I got in a lot. You guys know I'm working on my Jakks Ruthless Aggression set, so I did pick this one up in a lot. I will note, if you're trying to find this loose, this is one of the most difficult figures to find for RVD, loose and mint. This singlet, the paint on here, for some reason gets tore up. Most you see have paint imperfections. It's really disappointing, actually. But I like this figure. It's similar to that Tiger Stripe one that we had in the Best of ECW. Just a little bit of difference. But RVD definitely belongs. And happy to have the loose one, too, in my set. But RVD comes with a barbed wire baseball bat, which is kind of weird because we don't think of RVD using a barbed wire baseball bat. But you know what? There's a funny story about that. Back in ECW, it was quite the party locker room, and RVD wasn't opposed to partying a little bit with, a little of that every once in a while, as we all know, Mr. 420. He would be doing pranks, though. He loved to kind of smoke up, get a little high in the back, and do some pranks from time to time. And one of his favorite pranks to do was Axel Rotten. We all remember Axel Rotten, probably with Balls Mahoney, as his tag team was my favorite time, or a part of the New Breed, feuding with Ian, his brother. We remember those bloody matches, and Axel, that is, always had a barbed wire baseball bat ready to go. He might need that probably 9 times out of 10. He was using a barbed wire baseball bat in a match with New Jack, you name it. But RVD, he would love to play pranks on Axel, and he would always hide his barbed wire baseball bat. Hide it throughout the arena, and Axel would get all mad and throw a big fit, but RVD finally at the end of the night, they'd let him go. Okay, right before Axel's getting ready to go out and needs that bat, he'd tip him off to where it is. It was just a fun game between the boys. Probably no different than you and your coworkers, probably hiding the stapler or something like that. But that's why we got that barbed wire baseball bat with this RVD. So I thought that was pretty cool. There he is, RVD on the side, of course. There's RVD's picture. And the back. Let's see what it says about old RVD. 235 pounds, 6 foot tall, finishing move, the 5-star frog splash. It was a thing of beauty back then. It was so cool. Titles, we got a lot of them. ECW champion, ECW television champion, ECW tag team champion, WWE champion, Intercontinental champion, World tag team champion, WWE tag team champion, hardcore champion, and of course, his most decorated title, European champion. So there it is. A little different on the back. He's got the thumbs up, RVD hands. He does not have that on the prototype. He also has knee pads on the prototype, which are on here as well. Not on the loose one I have, though, strangely enough. Different knee pads on the back than what we got on the front, then we got none on here. So I don't know where the fault line goes there. But a very strong RVD. Also with loose RVDs, if you're collecting this one or any, always make sure you look at the hair. That ponytail breaks off in a lot of figures. I've almost pulled the trigger a few times trying to build up my Jakks Ruthless Aggression, and the last second caught myself. Oh my gosh, he's missing his ponytail. So there's a little pro tip for you guys out there if you're looking for RVD figures. But there you have it. That's RVD. Let's look at the next one. All right, next up in Series 23, we got one of the coolest looking figures, I think, in the whole Jakks Classic Superstars lineup, and that is the Berserker. John Nord from the AWA, but most famously known as the Berserker. I will never forget the time he tried to kill The Undertaker with his sword in the middle of the ring, tried to stab him, and Undertaker just luckily moved out. I thought that was the coolest thing as a little, 9, 10-year-old kid watching attempted murder live on TV Saturday morning. It was the coolest thing ever. And then I watched roller derby after that, and it was just, my Saturday was off to the races. But I love the Berserker. Hush Hush was his thing. A lot of people said he was a poor man's Bruiser Brody. A little bit different there, but I do see a lot of similarities. And I think a lot of people think that the wild mane, the beard, and then the furry boots, maybe that's what people compare to as well. But I love this Berserker figure. Berserker's had a lot of great figures. I loved his Hasbro figure as a kid. kind of like a poor man's Hacksaw Jim Duggan figure, but dressed up just a little different. But you had Berserker in the Hasbro line as a kid, and then you have a Mattel Elite that is awesome. And that one actually comes with the sword. And it's funny, it's kind of one of those things over the years you think about it. When I think of this figure, I always thought it came with a sword, and it does not come with a sword or a shield. The Mattel does. So I think that is really cool. That Mattel figure is very solid, was very cheap for a long time. I don't know if it still is. I haven't seen it around a long time, but that is one of the sleeper best Mattels ever, that Berserker. Just like this one is, a very solid figure. Look at that. You got soft goods, you got soft boots, you got the Viking helmet on there. I do not believe the helmet comes off. That doesn't bother me. Some people that really bothers. It never bothered me. Like on my Hasbros as a kid, that didn't bother me. His hat didn't come off. I just played with it. It was just not that big a deal for me. But I know some people didn't like that. Once again, this is a figure that's been a victim to customizers over the years. A lot of people have customized this into a Jakks Bruiser Brody. Even though there was a Jakks Classic Bruiser Brody, but that one held a lot more value, especially back in the day and especially now over this one. This one might be up there now too, but this was more readily available and a lot of people use this for their Bruiser Brody customs. I got the Berserker on the side. Make sure they spelled that right. They did. Every once in a while they spell wrong. I probably missed some that have spelled wrong in this deep dive. I probably missed that. There he is on the side, a little glamour shot action. There's the old back of the package. I mean, just an awesome figure. This head scan is just next level. Head scan, head sculpt, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that is just awesome. Looks pretty similar to the back. Looks pretty much straight on the same, so that you got that going for it. Not a lot to talk about on the Berserker, obviously. 318 pounds, 6'8". Finishing move, the Falling Power Slam. And that's it. That's all they got to say about that Berserker. They should have referenced the time he tried to murder The Undertaker on Saturday morning. That would have been the all-time story. But there he is. There's the Berserker, a sleeper in the Jakks lineup, and one of the best Jakks out there. All right, Series 23 has a tag team, and thankfully they're in the same series together. You guys know how much I hate it when they split up the tag teams. But Hawk and Animal, the LOD 2000 era, once again, not really classic at the time. There's a lot of incarnations we probably would have rather had. But 15, 16 years later, I'm glad we got this representation of this tag team. You know, they're so important to the history of tag team wrestlers, big wrestlers, face-painted wrestlers, and Kyle's Live, the Road Warriors. I absolutely love them. Just one of my favorites. They are my favorite tag team of all time. You guys know I love face-painted wrestlers. Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, LOD 2000, face-painted wrestlers, big wrestlers. That's what I want out of my figures. So I was happy I got this one. I always thought these looked a little tall. Maybe not, but they always felt a little tall in package. But let's look at Hawk first. Take a look at him there. Love that face paint. That's almost old school Road Warriors face paint. I mean, that reminds me of 80s Road Warrior face paint on this. It's just the spikes and kind of the decorations on him that bring it to the LOD 2000. Not really sure what LOD 2000 was. I guess it was just trying to freshen them up and say, this is LOD for the 2000s. Little Hawk on the side. Love that tongue that just hangs out. That is awesome. There he is. Of course, the shoulder pad's removable. There's on the back. Looks like he does have that dog collar chain. I do not have a loose version of this. I wouldn't mind to have one for sure. It looks like he's got that dog collar chain on there from Series 9. So that's kind of a cool, neat feature, I guess. It's not the totally ripped up Hawk body type either. You know, this is more puffy 2000s Hawk. But I like this one. You know, now that I'm looking at these, I really need a loose set. And it's getting my mind going as I go through these. Now I feel like I need a loose set of every single Road Warrior figure ever. All the Jakks Classic Superstars. I need to get all of them. I might have to look into doing that. Oh boy, here we go. Hawk, weight 245 pounds, 6'3". Finishing move, of course, the Doomsday Device. AWA Tag Champion, NWA Tag Champion, WWE Tag Champion, International NWA Tag Team Champion, NWA 6-Man Tag Champion. So there you go. Absolutely love the Hawk. Now let's take a look at the Animal. As you can imagine, 285, 6'1". Top Rope Power Slam is his finishing move. I don't know about that. It should be Doomsday Device. All the tag team titles are the exact same we saw earlier. But there's Animal. I don't like Animal, though, on his biker shorts and his high tops. I never liked that look for Animal. I know he's trying to modernize himself and stuff, but it just doesn't work for me. But I would still like a loose one of this one, for sure. But there he is. Same shoulder pads, all that fun stuff. Got Animal on the side. There's the old glamour shot. And the back. So there you have it. I'll never turn down an LOD figure. Always want the more LOD, the better. You guys know me. Is this the best incarnation in Jakks Class Superstars? Absolutely not. But at least they're in the same series, and at least we got another LOD. So that's how I look at it. So there you go. Hawk and Animal, LOD 2000. Let's see who we got next. All right, guys, if I can be serious for a moment. Like a young Lance Storm, we're going to finish up Jakks Class Superstars Series 23 with Lance Storm. Another figure that's been brutalized by customizations over the years is we've never got an Elite Lance Storm. This is Lance Storm's only RA type figure, Ruthless Aggression. You know, he had a Titantron out there, but he didn't have anything else. So this is one that's very much coveted, very much wanted. Funny story, I actually have a loose one on the way. I got a screaming deal, got delayed, all kinds of issues. It'll probably be here in weekly purchases, maybe next week, hopefully. But it would have been great if I would have had it here. I could have shown the loose one for this video, but just didn't work out. So check my weekly purchases video and you'll see that. But Lance in his classic outfit, and I love this Series 23. One thing I love a lot about the set, you got the LOD, of course, but you got a lot of ECW guys, RVD, Spike Dudley, and Lance Storm. And then the Berserker is a great figure. And Big Bossman I wanted, just doesn't really line up with what we want out of Big Bossman. And then Trish Stratus is what it is with that LJN set. And then Billy Kidman somewhere in the mix. So a pretty solid set as a whole as we've went through. But this Lance Storm is pretty much next level. I love this Lance Storm figure. There it is. You know, it's Lance Storm. When you think of Lance Storm, this is the outfit you think of. At least I do. Of course, this figure, too tall. He is a giant. It drives me a little nuts there. On the back here, it says Lance Storm, weight 245 pounds, 6'3". I don't feel like he was 6'3". Maybe I'm wrong. But you know what Lance Storm's finishing move was? It was an amazing finishing move, because it says it right back here. It says his finishing move was the Doomsday Device. And you know what else? You should read the tag team titles that Lance Storm held over the years. You know, he was an AWA tag team champion, an NWA tag team champion, a WWE tag team champion, an international NWA tag team champion, an NWA six-man tag team champion. Can you believe that? He had all that. It says it right there on the back. Look. He is almost like a member of the Road Warriors at this point. And actually, hey, that's what happened. They gave him Hawk's bio card on the back. I'd never noticed that before until I read that right here. So Jakks messed up a lot of these, as we've seen over the other 22 sets. But this is a pretty bad one. Doomsday Device and all these tag team, NWA. He wasn't even in the business when all that went down. So a little suspect there, a little disappointing, kind of funny, comical, I guess you would say. He does come with a silver chair, as he was known as the sitting in the back guy for ECW back in the day. He had that silver chair in honor of Brian Pillman. And Brian Pillman, you know, he went from WCW to ECW. The Loose Cannon started. And he is the one that taught Lance Storm the ways of the flying in the ring and sitting in the back. There's a reason behind the madness. Just like Billy Kidman, that's what it is. And we owe a lot of that silver chair in these high flyers that sat in the back on silver chairs. We owe that to Brian Pillman. So thank you, Brian Pillman, for that. That story might not be true. Somebody can fact check that one. But love this Lance Storm. Too big. The bio card's wrong on the back, but can't wait to get a loose one. I'm going to put that with my triple threat figures. I do have that FTC Shane Douglas. I don't mind that figure. You can dress that one up okay. I do have the Bam Bam Bigelow from the Classics line, which is great. Fits in there. I got to figure out that Chris Candido figure. FTC has a Chris Candido, but boy, I'm not sold on that one. I'm hoping something better comes out. It probably won't, but there you go. That's wrapping up Classic Superstar Series 23. I can't believe 23. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You guys leave me a comment on your thoughts on this set. Did you pick them up? Did you find them in stores? Did you miss them? What your thoughts overall were. A solid set, like I said. I highly recommend this set, and probably one of the best sets towards the end as well, especially looking and going back through these, that's for sure. But hopefully you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're keep growing our subscribers every day. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these. We'll be back next week with Jakks Classic Superstars Series 24. And for Kyle and the rest of the 23 gang, I'll see you guys all real soon.